The study found that employers who did not hire people with disabilities did so primarily out of fear. Fear and anxiety based on readily disprovable myths and misperceptions. The study uncovered incorrect assumptions about having to retrofit the workplace, false beliefs about higher absenteeism, and myths about lower job retention. But the Compass survey also analyzed the results of employers who do hire people with disabilities and found that almost across the board it was a positive experience. They said that employees with a disability brought a fresh perspective to the workplace, that they generally worked harder, that they were oftentimes superior problem solvers, and counterintuitively have lower absenteeism and higher retention rates. In some cases, much, much higher. A gentleman known to Bob and to his worship, Mark Wafer, is owner-operator of 7 Tim Hortons outlets in the Greater Toronto area, which means he's at least 7 times smarter than every single person in this room, because he bought them one by one. He's very, very wealthy, and I asked him once how he made himself so wealthy, and he said, 1 cup at a time. Mark made a commitment a number of years ago to hire people with mental challenges, to hire people with Down syndrome. And what he has found over the ensuing years is that the people that he hires who have mental challenges, their job retention rate at his outlets is 7 years. The turnover rate for people who don't have mental challenges is about 16 months. So the business case model for him in his store is that he gets greater profitability out of the people that we would, in some instances, look at and say, gee, I don't know that that person has the opportunity to work or whether they'd ever be able to hold a job. And Mark recently received the Community Living Toronto Employer of the Year Award because his longest serving employee, a gentleman who had been there for 15 years, and they helped, by the way, in terms of giving him advice of financial counseling and other such things, but through sheer dint of his own effort and hard work, this gentleman, along with his wife, bought their first house. Isn't that something? Now think of the alternative. What does that mean? Well, it means that he's paying taxes. That's what it means. And in this world today, there's a simple reality. You're either a taxpayer or you're dependent upon the government for tax assistance. And we live in a great country where we have established long ago a social contract where we believe collectively, what makes us Canadians really, that for those who simply can't provide for themselves, we will provide assistance. And that's just who we are as a people. But there's all sorts of people getting that kind of assistance, and they want to do something. They want to have the opportunity to work. And so we have to address a way of making that happen. One of the ways is the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act. Now in its 6th year, it was passed in the legislature in 2005, and as I like to remind people, it is perhaps the only piece of partisan legislation that received unanimous, nonpartisan support from all 3 parties. In fact, I was at an event where the former Premier Frank McKenna and the former Prime Minister John Turner were